Good afternoon. I've been thinking a lot about this tutoring ban, and it really sucks for all who have been affected. But today, I want to look at it from, well, you know the proverb, you can't see the forest for the trees? That's what I'm thinking about today. In this case, the trees are, wow, I don't know if this wind is going to work out. Is that better? All right, let me change direction and head for lower ground. I'm up by one of the new gymnasiums, and it's a bit windy up there. In this case, the forest that I'm talking about is all that's going on in China economically and socially, and how the teachers are just caught in this disruption. For those of you who follow the China situation, you may know all of what I'm about to tell you, but sometimes it's good to connect the dots. You see things like the Tech Crackdown. I'm not going to go into too many details, but suffice it to say that the central government has not been happy with the power of the tech sector and has really taken it down a notch or two. I mean, really taking it down. It has stopped major IPOs of Alibaba founder Jack Ma and his investment group, and it has, really clamped down on a lot of specific internet and app-based businesses. So in that regard, you can consider the online teaching industry, the app-based teaching sector, as falling under the large umbrella of tech companies that the Chinese government is making a move on. Of course, it's much bigger, much broader than that, because there are so many cultural, societal implications in the teaching, the tutoring sector, reducing the burden on students, encouraging families who can't afford, to educate one child, let alone two, to have another child, even to giving children a chance at a more well-rounded, balanced life. There's so much swirled in there, and so much more that I haven't touched on. It's kind of like trying to do a jigsaw puzzle where all the pieces are of the sky and it's a cloudy day. Trying to figure out China is just stepped out of campus. Been thinking about what I was saying so far. Realized that I gave you two metaphors. Can't see the forest for the trees, and a jigsaw puzzle with all the pieces that look like a cloudy sky. Yeah, they're both good. I could have just stuck with one, but oh well, there we go. I also have to add that it's really impossible to say how much of what's going on has to do with the COVID situation. The online tutoring, that industry just blew up in the last year and a half. We all know that. So that's not just a factor, that's a big factor. Stepping out of campus also means noise. So I'm just gonna let you enjoy some of this street life and then continue later. Woo! Walking off the campus and into the city It reminds me of that quote from the movie Apocalypse Now.
Never get out of the boat. Absolutely goddamn right.
Okay, home. That's much better. Where was I? Big picture, society, China's objectives and goals. One of the most convincing arguments that I've read for whatever China is doing on the societal front is what they call the 3 pillars of the family economically. That would be education, the cost of education, the cost of healthcare, and the cost of housing. And all 3 go into, can a family feel secure in planning a future? With that in mind, you can look at all the educational changes under that umbrella, and you can come to whatever conclusions you want. One conclusion that I think it's really important to consider is that as a teacher, and as an online teacher maybe who's lost his or her job, nobody's thinking about you. I mean, it's sad to say, but you're just not a factor. The factors are much bigger. You've probably also read recently that the government has curtailed, highly restricted the availability of online gaming for children. Children under the age of 18 can now only play online games, for 3 hours a week. And that's only on the weekends, 1 hour for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that, would meet the criteria of reducing a child's crazy life on the one hand, giving them more time to focus on studies, but they're trying to reduce the burden on studying, trying to give more of a balanced life. You just have to look at the whole thing holistically, or you could look at it suspiciously and say that that's another takedown of the tech industry and all these online businesses. Where does the restriction, the limitation of online games fit in? Does it fit in under taking down the tech industry? Does it go under giving children more free time so that they're not overburdened in the studying? Is it giving more balance and family time to the family? I don't know. I don't really know, but really my overarching point in this video is that if we just focus on how the education situation, is affecting us and even the children that we teach, then you're not getting the full picture. On the other hand, this full picture is really difficult to understand. You could then throw in China's relatively recent insistence or hope that more young people will go into vocational schools. Actually, as long as I've been in China, more than a decade, people have been talking about, hey, there's nothing wrong with a blue-collar job. We need more people doing infrastructure, especially since China has been really pushing urbanization, pushing it hard for more than a decade. All these things are swirling around, and to pick apart one tree, it's almost pointless. And another side of this is that China wants less foreign investment. I can't even begin to guess motivations. I'm just sort of throwing out all these aspects of economic goings-on that form this forest. I just remembered another newsworthy event that's been going on in the past week, and that's this, I don't know what the word is, direction from the top that Chinese entertainment industry, particularly TV series and kind of these pop idol or Survivor type TV shows, shows that glorify fame and celebrity, should be stopped, and more wholesome content, especially that which glorifies China's revolutionary past, should be put in its place. All these things going on. Can't make heads or tail. I know I'm rambling, and that's kind of the point, because, man, it just makes your head spin. But this is not the first time that something like this in the education industry has affected me. Well, actually, this has not affected me. I work at a public university. For now, my job is quite secure, and there is no talk about getting rid of foreigners teaching English at universities. Knock on wood. But let me tell you what happened to me when I was working at Southern Illinois University a few years ago. Our student population in the intensive English program was more than 50% Saudi Arabian students. We had international students from all over the world, but the Saudis were predominant. At one point, the Saudi government decided, for whatever reasons, that it was going to change its policy of offering a free education abroad to any Saudi citizen who could get admitted to a university in an English-speaking country. That had been the policy for I don't know how many years, and that's why we see so many Saudi students on campuses in America. They're number 2 after China. I think it was something like, I don't know, more than 400,000 Chinese students in any one year, and about 80 or 90,000 Saudis, but the Saudis were clearly number 2. And our program was very strong because of that. And then they changed the rules. If I remember right, the change was significant. It was that we will still provide free tuition and board to Saudi students who want to study abroad in English-speaking universities, in English-speaking countries. However, it has to be a top 100 university in America. And sadly, Southern Illinois didn't qualify in that top 100. And so our intensive English program basically was cut in half overnight. Saudi students couldn't get the correct admission and visa, and all of a sudden, our program was just pretty much decimated, totally out of our control. We weren't doing anything wrong. We were putting together a very successful program, both financially and educationally, well respected, and then boom, something happens outside the nation's borders, outside of our control. We have nothing to say. We can't do anything about it, and that's what happened. And so I understand. I understand the chaos, the unpredictability, the craziness, the really sad situation that so many teachers have been put in here in China. It's just kind of, it's just the way of the world. And sad. All right, I've definitely rambled on too much. I'm gonna close out my video now, and I really want to thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to leave a comment, please drop one below. Press the like button, and please subscribe if you haven't already. All right, I'm gonna sign off. Take care, everyone. Good luck. Catch you next time.